If you love music and great sound experiences, you just discovered the biggest landslide in sound in a very long time. So get your popcorns. I'm going to tell you everything.
Stjernholm Reviews, your sound, your music, your planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the AV therapist himself, Stjernholm Reviews.
Well, I thought this would be a quick speaker review. I thought that the latest offering from Radiant Acoustics, the Clarity 66, would simply be a bigger Clarity 6.2. More SPL, more bass extension, bada bing, bada boom. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, done. But at the first listen, it was clear that something entirely new has materialized in the music-loving world. These speakers are like nothing I have heard before. I was intrigued, fascinated, so much in fact that I had to call in reinforcements from the Silverback listening team to confirm that I wasn't crazier than usual.
Depth,
Nice.
Stort.
a precise sounding speaker. It also brings out the different production elements. It's very easy just to get into the music and just take it in what they're trying to do with both the music, but also how they produce it. It's very easy to hear the contrast.
Det er en utrolig, kan man sige, full-bodied lyd, der kommer ud der. Det er stort, det er massivt, det er helt vanvittigt, at de kan spille sådan.
There's a lot of clarity, a lot of definition, but without feeling clinical or just too neutral. I'm entertained. It's a neutral sound, but in an entertaining way. So it's not just bland or just yeah. It grabs you, which I like. So it's very well composed. Loads and loads of details. Solid soundstage, and it feels like there's plenty of power. I haven't reached any resonances or reacted to any resonances or felt that it would get tiresome. It feels very easy to listen to.
And then I had to get hold of the man responsible for the engineering and ask, what have you done, man?
Yeah, we made a little bit of an unorthodox decision to run it as a two-way.
Hey, you can't do that!
Normally, you would maybe not get away with that. And as you mentioned, when you go that deep in bass and have to handle mid-range, so that's the usual shortcoming of a two-way. But we worked so hard on developing these motor systems and drivers with super low, what we call intermodulation distortion, meaning that they can actually play deep bass at the same time as handling mid-range without getting this modulation effect. If it works, you get this load sharing that we have two 6.5s. They combine into an area like a 10-inch. And that means that each driver only have to play half as much. They share the load all the way up to when the tweeter takes over. And that helps lower distortion. So they actually as a huge 10-inch mid-range. By design, we have reduced this intermodulation that you normally get. It allows to strike another balance where you benefit from this super low mid-range distortion, and you can look at measurements. I mean, it's challenging even the most expensive DPA microphones. The mid-range distortion, it's minus 80 or minus 90 dB. So we are down where most amplifiers are not even capable of following. That's one of the aspects of this extreme mid-range clarity.
This speaker simply redefines sound in its size class, no matter the price tag, and in this review, you will find out why that may be. But just before we get our total nerd on, know that you too can join us in absolute awesomeness.
Silverback! We are the Silverbacks! Hear that thunder roll! Truth in the tweeters! Heart in the stroll! High grade again! No strings to pull! Join the sound, feel the truth, let the music! The sound believers, wave receivers, nature's friends and truth achievers. We build, we play, we give it back. We are the mighty Silverbacks!
The new brand Radiant Acoustics got our undivided attention last year with their first offering, the Clarity 6.2, a high-end bookshelf that pushed way above its price tag. Then came the cute little sister, the Clarity 4.2, and that awesome, heavy, dedicated stand for the 6.2. The 66 floor stander is the real company exam, so we give it a full probe.
Oh, gee, lady, I just came here to drill.
Oh, so did I.
To find out if Radiant Acoustics are here to stay. From the team impressions alone, you can tell right away that this highly anticipated floor stander is quite remarkable. It's full of new tech that clearly seems to work in favor of a special music experience. How it is achieved seems to be connected to the chief designer being kind of obsessed with killing distortion. Any kind of distortion, that is. Even something called
Iron distortion.
Iron has this completely weird property that it remembers everything you played since the day the speaker was born, or even before. And that's because it has these small magnets, magnetic domains, and they remember how they've been magnetized. So they pretty much take an imprint of what you play.
So the properties change?
Yes. It's a bit mind-blowing, and think about it as a tape recorder. It's also magnetic domains, and they can store music forever. So you have a little bit of that effect here.
Wow.
And that effect is really not good for your ears, because you have something that tails the music as a shadow. So it's not like some random noise. It's something that has a signature, a bit like... It has some of the characters like the music you're playing, but it just shadows it all the way down.
But Lars, how can you battle that in a crossover? The promise of the Clarity 66 is to hit deeper, cleaner bass than most big ported monsters. Keep distortion so low it's basically inaudible even when you're blasting at 100 dBs, while still giving you that perfectly coherent soundstage where the band just appears in the room. And do all that in a compact size floor standing cabinet at a price that actually makes sense in a normal home without your spouse hating on you.
I hate you more! If hate were people, I'd beat China!
To put the price into perspective, let's look for competition that matches the topology first. Oh wait, there's exactly nobody. And I guess we can wait for quite some time. If you watched our two-part Clarity 6.2 review last year, you already know the story. The 66 is the natural progression, but it's just not a 6.2 with extra bass stuffed in a bigger box. It contains enough brand new innovations for them to call it the pinnacle of Clarity. Kind of laying the nutsack right there on the chopping block, but that's how they like it, it seems. On paper, it's almost silly. 24 Hz to 20 kHz in-room response, 86 dB sensitivity, 4 ohms nominal, 350 watts power handling, dual 6.5-inch aluminum core Purify Ushindi woofers, the same custom symmetrical AMT tweeter there, but the newest innovation is actually the very large Superflare bass port.
Wow! What a hole!
They simply ditched the passive radiators from the 6.2 and went all in on this new port design.
I was scared about going away from these passive radiators. It was actually Peter Lyngdorf who challenged me and said,
Listen up, Crotch Dave. Remember your training and trust your instincts. You can do it. I believe in you. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what he said. The resulting noise and distortion from it is so incredibly low.
Yes.
I must admit it completely blew my expectation on how far we could push it. I was willing to accept that if we could just do just as good as a passive radiator, that would be
okay, but
fine.
it actually made it better.
It made it better.
Wow.
So, and you can see that on measurements.
And they weigh a chunky 40.5 kilograms each. Yeah, that's chunky. Setup is surprisingly easy thanks to the vertical line source behavior that kills floor and ceiling reflections quite effectively. The two identical extended stroke Yushindy woofers run in parallel with the AMT tweeter. No extra mid-range driver, no extra crossover in the vocal range. Phase stays perfect where the music actually lives. Crossover is placed as high as 2400 Hz, meaning the bass drivers delivers all the critical mid-range while still thumping out deep bass. No wonder everyone else goes 2.5 or 3-way. The tweeter is the custom symmetrical dual magnet AMT, living in a dual-purpose waveguide with 5 aluminum fins that glue the soundstage together and then open up in the top for air. Purify modeled the tall cabinet as a constant cross-section transmission line, and the cabinet is the first in the series built with what is called full finite element analysis, an advanced computer simulation that divides the entire cabinet into thousands of tiny virtual pieces to predict exactly how it will vibrate before any physical prototype is built. This resulted in massive internal bracing plus a solid steel rod that clamps the woofer motors to a rear steel plate. It gives zero flex, so all the energy becomes sound. Inside, there is something called I-cell damping that doesn't move around as the individual shaped pieces are placed to kill any remaining resonance. The new crossover uses air coils only, top polypropylene caps, perfect phase and amplifier-friendly impedance curves, giving you way more choice in amps as long as they have the wattage you need to get the most from them. Think 200-300 watts at 4 ohms to get the most from these speakers. The final result is a high-end compact floor standard package with record-setting low distortion and a build of very satisfying mechanical quality that clearly confirms that Radiant wants to be taken dead serious, offering the 66 at a price that, given the competition, seems very reasonable. This is definitely a speaker system that will have the entire speaker business looking it over. This brings us to the only question that really matters to me. Does all this mad scientist stuff actually disappear so we're left with nothing but pure musical emotion? Part 2, that will be all about the sound experience and how radically different it is from the little brother Clarity 6.2. You will hear sound examples and find out the true limits with the blindfolded impressions from the Silverback listening team. The full doctor's examination with the pros, the cons, and the price-adjusted team score is coming to you there in part 2, ready for you to click on the end card or from the description below the video. The full interview with leading mad scientist Lars Risbo,
that's the way to go,
will be made available on the channel. Like and subscribe to get notified. Now it's time to see what happens when we just listen. See you there.
Behold, that noble Lars Risbo is the slayer of distortion itself.
What's wrong with distortion, Walter? Don't take that away from me, please.
We better see that part 2 to find out what the team says about it.
But where is it?
There it is.